Pat, and a happy Thursday to you.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good.
Glad to see we're
Expecting
back
Jessica
after a 2 week break.
Was it 2 weeks? Was that long?
Yeah, but you were in here last week.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Yeah,
I was in Omaha,
it
Nebraska,
goes quick.
sitting out in the patio with my buddy and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So got that going. We're going to talk about fall and where we really think the market's going and some of the numbers. And I'm going to show an article from the Phoenix Business Journal right off the bat, and it's a head scratcher, and it's like where they quote people, and I just don't see where they're getting the numbers. So I'm going to jump into that right now. Don't keep people waiting. And then we got the whole bunch of numbers we want to talk about and talk about the GDP and all that fun stuff. So stick with us. And I got a new website I want to show you that I got going yesterday with a company called Get You. So I want to share that with you. But look at this domino effect, how the Fed's interest rate cut impacts Phoenix home prices. Now, I won't read you the whole article. I want to read one sentence that says, while the Federal Reserve cutting the benchmark federal funds rate by 0.5 percentage point to 4.755% range, Arizona residential real estate brokers are seeing renewed activity. Okay, first of all, yes, the central bank cut it, but the rates went down before they did that, right?
Yep.
Now, where is this renewed activity that they're seeing? I'm going to show you what I'm seeing because I crunch the numbers every day. It's a simple little spreadsheet, but see that line there? That's number of contracts on a 7-day period. Can you show me where it went up besides just digging out a Labor Day? It's the same here to the right as it was over here before the rate cut. I'm not seeing anything there. Then here's our dashboard from the MLS. People that track numbers far, far better than me. See the little red parts down here? I'm going to pull out the handy dandy magnifying glass for this. See the red ones? Those are number of contracts. The blue line is number of listings. Do you see any line down there that's popped up that matches the statement of renewed activity?
Nope.
I don't see it. One more.
I don't see it.
Listings under contract. Okay. July, August, and September. Okay. September, they lowered the rates by 0.50, and we got renewed activity. Well, not really. Listings under contract. Again, this is Labor Day. After Labor Day was over, we went back up right where we have been, if not lower than where we were in June. Now, I'm not calling them liars. I'm not saying that the news got it wrong, but I'm saying that it's just not right. I just don't see the numbers that they were saying. So, it's just kind of weird. And but you see that a lot in the news. Jessica's trying to log on here. I see her down there in the green room, so we'll be on as soon as her camera comes flying back up.
She's struggling to get in.
Device is not connected.
Oh,
yeah, it can be a it's my fault for not sending her the link on time. So this is days of inventory. Now that spiked up. Okay. Look at that, 90.7. That's days of inventory, months of inventory. That's the same thing here. It spiked up. We're at 3.1. They say normal's 4 to 6 months, although we haven't experienced normal in quite some time. But, the inventory is growing up, and we're seeing that, that the inventory is definitely climbing here. We're almost hitting 20,000. And, but it's not because we're getting this fresh wave of new listings. We're not able to keep up with it. Buy about 400 homes a week. So we're putting on about 3,100 and we're putting under contract about 2,500, or about 3,000 to 2,500. So it's more homes for sale. Now I'm seeing more and more price decreases from the listing price. It's going to be a couple months before we really see the impact on actual sales prices, Pat. I don't think,
Mhm.
we're going to see too much, if I were to look at it now, list prices for square foot, I'm showing it here. And if I pull out, there's Jessica. Okay, she's ready. Welcome.
Good
Glad-
afternoon, gentlemen.
No, it's not gentlemen, it's me and Pat. So,
Yeah.
Aw.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
carry on.
pull out homes under $1 million. Now, these are asking prices. And again, I'm always blown away by this number, Pat. Started out the year at $256 a square foot, and today we're at $258 a square foot. It's not moving, and things are not budging. So, what did we say earlier today? That it's we're not just muddling along.
What do we say beginning of the year? Beginning of the year is going to be a whole hum year, huh?
It's gonna be a whole hum year.
Right?
It's
going to be a whole hum year,
on
huh?
steroids. It's
But this is the
boring.
most ho humish. Would you say this is the most ho humish year we've seen in some time?
Most ho humish, not hummus, but ho
Ho
humish.
humish. Yeah.
This one kind of surprised me here. The news that came out today, GDP grows at 3% in the second quarter. Now the second quarter ends in June. So interesting to see. I mean, it's for the people that are going, here comes a recession and things are going to fall apart. That hasn't happened yet. Hang in there. I'm sure the GDP is going to be slower getting the rest of the year based on some of the manufacturing numbers and stuff that we're seeing, and consumer confidence being took a major hit. So I think we'll see some of that. But jobless claims sink to a 4-month low. Businesses aren't hiring or firing many people. That's kind of ho hum, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been moving along. It's definitely weakening. Like it just, like we had talked about the Intel, obviously letting go 15,000. There's just this underlying momentum with hiring, and not people are not looking around for a job like they used to be a couple years ago.
Well, I get, and Jessica, you get this too on your phone whenever you make an appointment with Aligned, which is a showing software, and you've showed the home. I got a lot of text messages the past few days on price reductions.
I've seen that as well.
So and I'm seeing in Facebook forums that people are just saying it's really slow, but then there's people out there that are just incredibly busy. The open house traffic hasn't popped yet because it's supposed to be 112 degrees again on Saturday. So I don't think we're going to see any increased traffic in open houses until that heat goes away. But
no.
Are you doing one this weekend, Jessica?
The last 2 weekends, I'm going to reflect back because I actually feel like the last 2 weekends have been wild. Considering the rest of the summer, 1 or 2 was kind of the visits, and the last 2 open houses I've had multiple. I've kept myself busy for a solid 3 hours. So
wow.
There are people out there.
They're coming to see you. I only had 3 when I did that. So Bebop here is asking, when are we going to see 20,000 listings? Next week, I think. I think so. We're at, what are we sitting here today? Here's the interesting thing. Okay, you see the ticker down below there? We're at 19,555. We'll see 19,900, I think, tomorrow. And then next week, next Friday, we'll be at 20,000. But see where it says new contracts, 2,568. Last week, 2 weeks ago, it was 2,550. So it's only changed by 8 homes. Ho hum, right? Months of supply. Yep. So we jumped on that and looked on that just a couple minutes ago, Bebop, and it's sitting here at 3.1. So Louis, welcome back. Open house I went to 2 weeks ago. We're busy. That's good to hear. I haven't experienced that. I've just been reading anecdotally, what some agents have said, and I think because of the new changes and perceptions of how commissions are paid, people are flocking to open houses. I've got an odd one. It was in Gilbert, and we tried to get in to see the home, and they said, well, we're requiring proof of funds or pre-qualification to show the house, yet they have an open house scheduled for Saturday.
You have to show up with your pre-qual in your hand.
I don't think so. Are they going to put that on the open house signs? Stop by, but bring
your
document.
bank statement.
Bring your bank statement.
bring your bank statement.
So Pat, how much was this week?
Yeah, it was pretty pretty much. You got my chart. Yep, this is the chart. This is the 5% coupon. This was the day. This was right here. This is the day that, Wednesday, Thursday, right in here. This whole line has been after the Fed announced, which obviously, the market was discounting it 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, probably a month and a half. So it was pretty much whether it was going to be a quarter point or a 50 point, cut. And, you look at it. I mean, this is the coupon. This is a 1 month display of what, prices, the bond price, 5% coupon. I mean, it's, as you see, it's just, there's no major, this is the Treasury, the 10-year Treasury. This is the day. This is a Tuesday. You can tell that it started creeping up after they announced, and the rates have kind of crept up. Probably they've changed pricing by about 1/8 of a point, let's say. Nothing crazy, but they did go up. So I think the bond market now is just trying to find its next footing for the next, news round of news. And we got the PCE coming tomorrow. We've got, the jobs market jolt and the September jobs coming out next week. So, now as I talked about a couple weeks ago, we saw this, the market got the bonds, obviously rates got better. They got worse right afterwards. It's been after every rate cut that seems to happen. Now, I think, I have to say the trend is definitely downward. So, I mean, it's just, you're going to have these fits and starts every 2 or 3 weeks now until we get the next wave of news. What do they think the next move is going to be? I was certainly surprised by the 50 basis point rate cut. I think maybe they know more, like Charles Payne on Fox Business News said, maybe there's more, he's been very bearish, saying that there's a lot of news behind the headlines about the jobs. They know more than what they're telling us. So I think they're concerned about the job market, but they're trying to get ahead of it. But once again, they haven't proven anything in the last 2 or 3 years that they're really on top of everything. But in terms of rates, I mean, right now, you got, let me just flip this over. I think if I can get this, right now you've got, they've moved up a little bit. I mean, right now, my typical scenario that I use, $475,000 purchase, 5% down. I'm going with one of my better lenders, Provident. They're a paper lender. You're still looking at 6% will be a cost of $1,688. So you can still get, I mean, you were looking at the high fives. It's crept up a little bit, but I don't see it going up much. I think bottom line is the trend is your friend. And I think rates will continue downward. How low do they go? I think it's just a matter of time, that we see, like I said, I think it's just going to be, you're going to see rates hit a tranche, hit a level, stay there, whole hum, and then maybe work them their way down a little bit further. It's going to take some time, but
well, I like this question here. I don't understand why we would cut rates if everything is fine. It's they're trying to keep the dollar strong, and you look at China is just announced that they're going to they're going to sell like $500 billion dollars, for lack of anything else, into their economy to stimulate it. And Canada lowered their rates. The European Union has lowered their rates. So we couldn't stay higher for longer and remain competitive. So I think, and yet he only touched on real estate for just a short time. He just said real estate had a slow year, and we're seeing more inventory. And then that's it. He didn't, because real estate's the least of his worries.
Yeah.
Sean says, this is it, baby. It's all crashing. Yes. I've reached out to Reventure Consulting. This may be your year, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jessica, I said baby and she left. She barked up.
Yeah, I know.
She just dropped off. Didn't even say goodbye. The tech, I bet her battery went dead in the laptop. So I don't know. We'll see. She comes back. The decrease in rates freeing up more inventory from sellers finally looking to move to attract new buyers. No, not yet. I'm wondering if the
I
newfound
don't see that,
inventory
no.
is leading to additional price discovery, which turns causing the increase price drops. My thoughts on that, Pat, tell me if you agree with this. The rate cut's not enough to move anybody from the sidelines out to buying. Not yet. I mean, the people that have hit an
Not
affordability
yet,
wall
no.
are waiting. And then you still have the mentality, which I think is a correct mentality, that says, well, if rates are going down now and it looks like they're going to continue to go down, then why get in today? And then you've got the jitters over the presidential elections,
election.
which, I beat that to a dead horse. You all know what I feel about that. It doesn't have an impact, but it does have an impact on, not that it doesn't have an impact on buyers and sellers. It does, but it doesn't have an impact on the overall trend of real estate. But you're in the numbers game. I mean, when do you think we're going to get people out of their existing houses and stepping down or stepping up?
Well, I think, you look at it. I mean, I just kind of popped in my head, this little train going through my head. When you saw rates the last year and a half, there's people that are, how did I put it? Some time ago, remember there's mortgage ready and not mortgage ready people. And there's always groups of little people. I think when you had rates at 7.5, 7.25, there were some people like, I am just totally out of the game. I'm just not even going to think about it. I think obviously rates coming down, like I said, you got rates in the 6s. You're going to have this tranche of people like, okay, this is still not the best situation, but we can afford it. Now if it's in the low 6s, high 5s, because, that definitely changes your payment by, $300, $400, $500, depending on your loan amount. So I think it definitely has pushed a tranche of people to say, okay, hey, let's start getting ready. Because, obviously if things are slow and you're getting inventory, you've got some sellers that are motivated. As we talk about the last couple of years, you could do that 2-1 buy down. That's still an attractive option, the 2-1 buy down, because if you get the starting rate at 6, you qualify at 6, your starting rate's 4. And with rates we're in this downward trend now since really October, November of last year, as I stated, some time ago. I thought, you look at the charts and that's really when we hit the peak. But we're in this downward trend. So now a 2-1 buy down makes a lot of sense for people where you're getting a rate in the 4s or even high 3s if you get lucky for a year. And if rates do follow up through like the dot plot that like the Federal Reserve has said, like they're looking in the 25 and 26, they're looking at it, you take the dot plot and the rates could be into the high 4s, low 5s, in the next 6 to 12 months. So I think it's going to get that tranche of people off the sidelines, but then there's the other tranche where it says it's still too damn expensive.
Yeah, there are some people you can get that down to 5 3/4 and they're not going to be able to buy. I don't know.
I think I did. I pulled a Kamala on you. I didn't answer the question.
You did.
Sorry. Yeah, I did. I think if you get, rates, if they pull down to the mid 5s, that would be, I really think if you get a 5 handle consistently on mortgage rates, you're going to see a lot more activity, because people that are 3.5, 4, they're like, okay, 5, 5.5, we can handle that. I think
Gator Brown here is asking us, what's the difference between Texas and Florida? Florida's in the middle of tanking. Florida's going to get wiped off the map tonight. That thing's brutal. And then, and what's the deal with Texas, and how do we compare to that? Well, Texas jumped in with welcome back, Jessica. Texas jumped in and started building like crazy, especially Austin, and they built aggressively and quickly, and they solved their inventory problem very fast, and so now they're kind of in an over inventory situation. And Bebop says refis are taken off according to ABC 15. You seeing any of that, Pat? There's probably some refi, but maybe it's a percentage.
It's obviously increased. I mean, I haven't pulled the plug because I just feel that rates are going to, I mean, bottom line is I feel rates are going to come down. If I feel rates are going to come down lower, why should I refinance on? They've come down, but it's to a point where, okay, it saves people money. But if I really feel they're going to drop another, slide down low 2 or 3 months, 4 months later, why should we let's get ready? Let's get ready and watch them. If you've got a large loan amount, 500, 600, 700,000 that you're at 8%, yeah, waiting for another 4 or 5 months doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you got a 250, 300, $350,000 loan where every quarter or 3/8 of a point makes a decent difference, I'd wait. But there's some mortgage brokers that are busy or trying to because it's been slow the last 12 months. They're just trying to scrape around business. And I just think that if I feel in my heart that rates are going to go lower, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait try to do the right thing and wait for people,
Well, Jessica, I want to ask you a question here. I haven't seen much of a shift with the new changes that came around here August 1st in buyer broker commissions. Have you?
I actually have. I haven't seen 3% in a month. Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, and just sellers offering any compensation at all.
So it's 50-50. My experience has been that they're offering, in most circumstances, they're offering. I will say that almost in 95%, they're offering, which is the same, right? That it's been since we've all been in real estate. The difference is I do believe that there's a pullback and there's room for that negotiation. I've negotiated on commissions more in the last few weeks than I have in, the last year. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And Pat, no more political comments.
Yeah, I know.
It's flipped out. Forgive us.
I know I get somebody going there. Sorry.
Rick, I think there's a lot more opportunity with what the changes happen for buyers. I mean, it really does give them just that leverage to be able to kind of be more in charge of. Yeah, sellers are still going to offer commissions. Everybody has a price in mind when they go to list. And buyers, can sit on the wall and complain. Rates are high, unaffordability. But that change has allowed some things for buyers to really, take it into their own control. And with us helping them, I think it's opened up some doors for buyers and for sellers to do some different things.
And the other thing is help for buyers too, is they don't have to be in a hurry now. So you can go home and think about it. You can go back and take a second look, and it just you have time. Stephanie's asking, is it true you need to wait 2 years from the closing date to refi to avoid paying capital gains tax? I don't think so.
You don't pay capital on a refi. You don't pay. It's only when you sell. I mean, obviously, refinancing, you don't do anything. It doesn't trigger any type of capital gains. So,
yeah.
That's
when you sell. If you sell within 2 years, then yes, there's some capital gains outcomes. Real page drama lawsuit from the Attorney General. Lawyers are getting rich.
You brought up a good point, though, as far as this. You brought up a good point, though. I think this type of time frame, though, has allowed buyers to take a little bit more time. It just seems like it is a good time for them just to sit back and make a good decision. If inventory is increasing, it does take a lot of work to get out there and try to find the right house, but it is definitely a lot better than it was in 20 and 21 as far as how trying to put a contract in and losing out on that house.
Jessica, I'm going to tee this one up for you. How is the market, your opinion of the market in Tucson?
Oh, and I'm happy to get back at you. You can shoot us an email to look specifically. So Tucson versus Phoenix, it's similar, but a specific area, I would definitely want to reach out on a personal level and get into that market before I gave you any general advice on it.
That's perfect. Down with Graystar. Can't wait for these dirt bags to feel the wrath. What's Graystar? The builder?
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, I'm not, unless it's lawyers. So Gator Browner says, agreed. I feel the further back they are, but it seems inevitable they are growth reasons were the same as ours. I saw a comment the other day on a channel, and it wasn't mine, and it was somebody said, oh, this is private equity firms that use RealPage. The comment was, these realtors have been saying the prices were going up because of supply and demand, and now they're finding out that's not true. And I'm thinking, well, wait, now they've leveled off because we have more supply. So what?
Yeah.
We had 4,800 listings and we were writing 4,900 contracts. Of course, prices were going to fly up. That was it. That property management companies, there's a lot of permits out there for multifamily that are getting close to coming on board, but our employment numbers are still pretty good here in Arizona. I want to share this too with the Cromford report, talking about this is right out of today, talking about the Cromford Market Index, and the red dots there are homes or areas where the index is going more in favor for buyers than it is sellers. But the commentary says the negative trend that started 3 weeks ago and continues, and buyers are gaining negotiating power, though the trend remains mild and excludes the highest price ranges. So he said at the bottom here, supply is rising faster than demand, so this is favorable to buyers. The fact that they're both rising is favorable to agents. So he's saying that things should be getting a little bit better out there as far as having more buyers and more listings. And I got a new site. I want to show you this. Jessica, I haven't had a chance to show this to you yet, but this is called Get Ya. Going to get you a house. It's new. It's in the beta testing now. They reached out to me and asked if I could test it out for them and try it. And it's really an interesting concept. See if I can explain it in a nutshell. And it's if buyers right now, they tell us what they're looking for, right? And then we go out and try to build a search for them and stuff. And then 95% still go to Zillow and just send us what they want, despite the fact that you set up a portal and everything. This gives them a little bit more where they can put in exactly what they're looking for. It's got so many fields in there that says, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with the pool. I want an office. I want a home theater. I want to I want to have a horse. They can fill this whole thing out and then put it on this site. And then agents put their listings on there, and they also see if any of it matches up. So like for our listing at Sun Lakes, I put the information on there as a home that's for sale, and then see if there's anybody that has expressed interest in that area and that price, and see if it's a match. And so if there's a match, you immediately get an email. Rick, you have a match for your property. Or the buyer gets an email. Hey, Julie, we found a house that matches your criteria. And so the way you get that is just send me your name on an email, rick@rickhelps.com, and I could send you the link that you can fill out all that stuff. For agents, you can get on there and look around on this and see if it's something. You can actually post a want ad. In other words, I'm going to run an ad because I'm looking for this particular type of house. And it's, it's got a match button here. It looks like your property doesn't have any matches. I put Shirley's house on there, wanting to buy. So it's in the early stages. There aren't a lot of people using it yet. Smart people though. I enjoyed talking to them for about 45 minutes yesterday. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. And then imagine a day we can make offers directly on Zillow with the middleman. Here's kind of my thoughts on these companies that are trying to do the one-stop shop. How do you pick title? How do you integrate I mean, they have their own lenders. Maybe they have their own title company, but just seems to me like you're losing all of your choices. You have to use their lender. Pat could probably offer you a better rate and better cost, but if you're going to do it all in-house, you really don't get to shop, do you? And, people say, well, it's like the travel agents, they're gone. You can do it all online. So there's a lot of kinks to work out to be able to take real estate and just make it a couple mouse clicks.
Didn't Zillow already try their hands? Zillow tried their hands in real estate. That didn't work out.
Well, it was interesting what happened there. They were buying houses and then selling them, and they wanted to give people a positive Zillow experience so that they would spread the word. Well, some guy went in the office and goes, hey, so they said, we're going to pay the Zestimate on your house. So you get on there and look, and it says 450,000. Like, okay, you submit it in, they give you 450,000. Some guy went in and said, let's add 7% to that because we know real estate's going to keep going up. And they lost $600 million in one quarter. Ouch. Why are so many apartment buildings being built in the valley? I don't think having more apartments available will lower house prices for purchase. It may lower rent prices. Yeah, I agree. It won't lower the price on existing homes, but rent prices will go down. There's no doubt. You're going to start seeing first month free, better terms to get in there. Why do you not believe that an increased supply in homes will not impact? I do believe that an increase in supply will impact home prices. I hope I didn't say I didn't. What I was not agreeing with was the comment that said, yeah, agents were barking that home prices were going up because of supply and demand. And now look, they're all wrong. Well, we're not saying that now. We're saying that back in 2021, the silly season, that there was no inventory and the money was cheap. So and we said, and I said over and over, you can go back and look at videos 2 years old on here where both of us on here were saying prices aren't coming down until we get more listings. And we're going to have a hell of a lot more listings than we got now. Fact is, we're going to have to be up over 24,000 listings, maybe higher because of where rates are today in order to see prices to even level off. Well, now we're at 19,500 and asking price starting to level off. People starting to lower their asking price. So it's leading up to a very soft fall. The predictions of a brisk fall market, in my opinion, fell flat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at the naysayers when the rates were at 7.5%, 8%, saying the market's going to crash.
Too resilient. It didn't crash.
Rates hit 7.5, 8. Huh?
Yeah. And it didn't crash. I think, now, so I don't feel that sales are going to pick up enough to match the extra listings that we're seeing. We're not seeing a lot of new listings. So that gap may close a little bit. Right now it's about 500 a week between the new listings and the contracts, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Let's say the gap only closes to 200. I don't think that's going to be enough to see pricing pressure on the upside going into October, November. Do you guys?
No, that's either. No.
I mean, I'm predicting flat to soft. I'm not predicting this. And I'm only going out as far as Christmas.
Okay.
You're
going out quite a ways.
Always slow. What percent of investment do you get back by adding a pool in the valley? 50%, 75%? What do you think, Jessica? That's a hard one to get back.
I want to say
when he says get back, I mean, if you pool, I mean, what we were talking about that at a open house, Jessica. They were talking about adding a pool is going to be $100,000. I mean, from my standpoint, if you add a pool now is what, 100,000 cost?
Correct.
And quite frankly, if you were to sell that house, turn around and sell the house 4, 5, 6 years down the road, the appraiser gives you what, $10,000, $15,000? 20 maybe. on a pool.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah. You definitely don't get your money back with the money that you put in.
No. Same with
You have to do a
solar.
lot more. Yeah, it'd be an overall upgrading of everything in the home could potentially at least help supplement some of that.
It's cheaper now. You can get a basic pool put in for $32,000. I haven't priced out a pool in a long time.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I
good
think,
price.
yeah, it is a good price. I think mine was
It's
25. I
so
think
like,
when I
you know,
put
we
it in.
had talked about people that are
Oh, you're buffering, Pat.
looking for a
Gotta pay
pool. I mean,
your cable bill.
obviously, if you
Yeah, if he's got internet gremlins, it's his turn.
you know,
Happens.
that's for the new.
I'm going to pull you off and put you back on. See if this makes a difference. That's the thing about streaming. You know, everybody's connection has to be good. RoboPat. It's there's so much behind it on packet loss, your upload speed, your download speed. And I mean, before we go on, I always go on and do a speed test to make sure that everything's going right. But sometimes there's times where and it's happened to me once, but I'll lose my connection. It's actually happened to me more than once, where Cox Internet goes out. Now, Pat's got Verizon 5G, and it's been pretty good, except for now. He's kind of in the dark there. I'm going to wait, pull him off here a little bit. But it just depends. And when you go off now, because I'm the one with this streaming software, if I lose my connection and I go off, guess what, Jessica? You're still on until you log off. So we did that once where I was off and Pat thought we were all done. In fact, he was still on. I had to go into YouTube and disconnect this. You're back amongst us, Pat. Did you pay your cable bill?
Yeah. What did we lose everybody or what? Or were you still there?
Just you.
Yeah, because my computer's been my Verizon's been acting really weird this last 24 hours. I can't. It's weird.
Just give it a reboot. So we got a question here, but you got a new nickname. You're now RoboPat. So Bebop, can we please see the active listings in the Valley and then Phoenix and Scottsdale? Well, here's I don't know why this one's different. When I pull up Cromford, like if I pull up, they've got a couple things like analysis here by topic, and I can look at active listings by city. I'm going to exclude under contract. It gives me a different number than their total. So let's look at this. Here's our active listings now are sitting at about 19,005. Phoenix is sitting here at 2,186. So they've gone up. If we look at, let's pick Chandler because I always tend to pick Chandler. They have gone up 393. Let's pick Sun Lakes because we were asked about this yesterday. They've gone from a low of 32 to a high of 61, which historically is kind of in line, except for last year they had 83. And let's see, what city else are you looking for?
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale? Scottsdale. Where are they at? Kind of flat, actually. They barely went up. So, you know what? I just realized now I wasn't even showing that. So, you could have chimed in at any time. I'll show you again.
Sorry.
Yeah. Just let me mess up and just be quiet as a church mouse. Here's Chandler again, and then there's Phoenix. So I'm just going to do that quickly.
I didn't.
So Phoenix kind of up a little bit. No, it's okay. I understand. We got Danilo here says, please help me understand how would lower rent prices lead to lowering the home value?
So.
I think he's asking Bebop that question. If someone purchased a house in 22 and then listed for sale in 24 for less than the 22 purchase price, is that a red flag from the perspective of the buyer? That's such a localized question. If somebody bought in 22 and now the price is lower, it really depends on the area. So far, I even saw that stressed areas with new builds, where there were more new builds like Maricopa, they were still up 1.5% for the year. Where the prices really took a hit was last year, when the rates went up. So I think, not sure. I think, does it reflect the buyer? Well, the house obviously appraised if they financed it, right? Is it a red flag?
Yep.
Real estate's always going to go up and down. And if you're looking at 2-year increments, then just don't even get in.
Yeah.
It's you got to be in for the long term. It's like, just look at it like your 401k every once in a while.
Well, he said from the perspective of the buyer, I would say that's probably something you want to look at and consider, because we've had appreciation and you don't know what the seller's circumstance were.
Well,
right?
It's possible that somebody paid, more for the house in 22 than they should have. There wasn't a lot of bidding wars going on in 2022. Not like we saw in 20.
I think the first part of 22 kind of, we saw a little bit, not much.
House price. So yeah, we got some back and forth there. I'll leave you guys to that. And so I think that'll make my head explode. I think wasn't the peak around July of 2022? I believe so.
Yeah, it was around. Yeah, first part of 22 was still pretty. That's when, obviously in April, May, when rates started creeping up.
Yeah, there's, if you're a buyer and you're looking to buy now, try to ask yourself where you think this house is going to be in 8 years, 6 to 8 years. And nobody knows. The thing to concentrate on is your job. How stable is your job? Because that's something you should worry about more than whether or not you have fluctuations in your equity, is your employment. And if your outlooks for your job remain good and you like the payment you have and you can afford it, then, you just won the battle. Stay there. I've had many cases where I like the payment. I like the house. I love the neighborhood, and I lost my shirt on the house because I moved to Albany, New York, and bought, and they wanted me to rent, and I had to go to them and say, guys, I can't find anything to rent. There's no rentals available in this town. So I bought this house. I think I paid $129 for it. And then we got a new governor, and Governor Pataki, and he laid everybody off in government. That didn't help me. If you bought in 20, you're already underwater, especially when you look at amortization tables. But hey, 2025 might find, I don't know. But Jessica, do you agree with that? You concentrate more on your employment and whether or not you're comfortable enough to lock yourself into a 30-year mortgage. And once you do that, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you don't know any seller circumstance. As a buyer, you want to know what the value of today's market is. And if you're, like you said, your job can afford it, and you like the mortgage payment, history is great to look at, but you don't know what a seller's circumstance is. They may be able to be in a position to give up down payment monies and need to get out for financial reasons. You don't know. Yeah,
I usually, when buyers ask me, well, why is the seller selling? I don't know. I don't ask. Sometimes the agent will tell you, oh, this is a job transfer, or it's a divorce, but I don't, it doesn't change my day trying to understand why the seller's selling. Like, ooh, they're desperate. That's just me. So Pat, there's more economic news coming out. When's the PCE tomorrow?
Yeah, PCE tomorrow. Then we got the job, JOLTS September job report next Friday. So we're gonna have these intermittent periods where you're gonna get some activity, maybe a day or two before. So I still think that now we're kind of stuck waiting for the they got the Fed meeting The next meeting is November 6th and 7th. And then I think middle of December, like 17th, 18th is when they meet again. So, the talk in between those dates are going to be what are they going to do for cuts? So I think you'll see the market, the bond market react accordingly before that news. So just watch and stay tuned.
Yeah, they're looking more
Anybody's got
at
any
Fed
questions?
speak than they are actual number movements. I mean, they I watched it. I listened to the replay, and they tried to peg him down, saying, well, now that you went down 0.50, is this going to be your standard? Is this what we can expect going forward? And he goes, don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. We're going to be
I
patient.
tell you one thing. I'd hate to be, that would be one. I'd hate to be him, just trying to figure out everybody's kind of waiting on your one word, that one, if you say something wrong or, it's just, there's a lot of pressure in that speech because he does have a lot of power.
I heard a great kind of analogy on that. I saw it on YouTube this morning talking about, when he speaks like 1 month and the next month they pull out the book and they draw red lines through what he didn't say this time, and then blue ink on what he said this time. And it's kind of like he said, Moses coming down with the same tablets every time. Here he comes. Hello, the same book. But I also saw that there's some stress showing up in what's called the beige book. So talking earlier about, well, why are they lowering rates if things are so good? Evidently underlying things are not that good, especially in the beige book. And the beige book is understanding what earnings are and unemployment and stuff. And then, I went in and looked at, Jay Powell brings it on himself by having too many speeches. It's a lot different now than when we had Alan Greenspan. It was called, what was that called? Green speech or something. You couldn't understand what he was saying. He was way over my head.
Oh, and he was drier than the Sahara Desert. At least Powell's got a little bit of personality. Greenspan was ridiculous. But
I like to go to Fred Economic Data, St. Louis Fed. So when I look at different jobs data and stuff like that, I go in and kind of peek at it too. Like, so here's all employees manufacturing. So, when manufacturing starts going up, that's, if it's starting to come down, then that's pressure on the Fed. But you can see that manufacturing dropped off during COVID, but then we've just been climbing out of this ditch and now it's flatlined. So during the political year, when you start hearing all these manufacturing numbers being touted by both sides, just go here and check, and you can see what they're doing.
I'll get information on there.
Yeah, you can be a data freak. So Jessica, you got a busy weekend planned?
Always. Coaching soccer. So we have a tournament this weekend. That's not real estate news. That's soccer. And then
let's keep it to real estate. Let's keep it to real estate.
Oh, okay, fine, Pat. I won't ask you what you're doing this weekend. So.
Yeah, I'm reading Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines.
Actually, you know what? We have one of our the New York buyers are coming into town this weekend. They're tired of they're ready for some warm air. I said, well, it's still warm.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be 112 on Saturday.
Some stuff on Sunday. Yeah.
Well, that'd be cool. Well, let me know. I'd love to hook up. And always like meeting fellow YouTubers, people that chat with us on here. So, well, look, everybody have a fabulous Thursday and get ready for the weekend and pray for those poor people in Florida. That's a monster storm hitting tonight, 20-foot waves. Just sounds awful. So it may be hot here, but at least we're not having hurricanes. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, Pat, people. Go reset your modem.
I will.
Take it easy, guys. See you.